Good evening, dear friends. I am one monologue, and as always, all thanks belong to the Almighty God, the one who has given us life, the mind, and the opportunity to improve every day. We humans are creatures who learn from mistakes, and often, precisely through pain, God gives us lessons that books do not have. In essence, we are students of life, of experience, of ourselves. But the question is, what is education? Brothers and sisters, I thank you from the heart that you value me and are listening to my audio. That is why I call it monologue. Because I have started this journey alone, and only God knows what people's hearts carry. But these topics are very important, not only in Forex, but in every field of business. I know they may seem a little tiring to you, but become the 1% of humanity. Become those who listen a lot and learn. Become that part who educate themselves every day. There is no success without education. There is no knowledge without education. There is no discipline without education. I want to be sincere with you at every step. Everything that I have as knowledge, I will teach you. I do not want to keep for myself what I have learned. I want my experience to become light for someone else. I want us to start with baby steps, not with euphoria. Not directly from the letter Z. Success requires time. Many of you may say, show us strategies or schemes on how to make money. Make it short. It is not like that, my friends. Nothing is learned overnight. Everything in success is a continuous process. Before the process comes the way you think about things. What mentality do you have? How do you expect to grow? Do you have any plan? How achievable is it? Because there are no fanaticisms when you do not know the process. You still do not know the road. That is why it is important to start with baby steps until you reach the point where you can run. Our people have a saying, stone by stone a wall is built. This is how it is in everything we want to master, whether knowledge, habits, or wealth. Therefore, everything we are discussing around education. Because education itself must also be continuous. Every day, education is not only what we learn in school, but how we react to life. It is the way we treat people, how we face difficulties, how we keep our word, and how we stand by our values, even when no one sees us. Because a person may have a diploma, but if he has no character, he is simply an empty book. Aristotle has said, the aim of education is to form the heart and the mind for virtue. Why did Aristotle say this? Because the heart finds peace when you have high virtues. God also loves the person who has high goals and virtues. Society also loves a person with high virtues. And history never forgets a person with high virtues. Just like the best people of humanity who are remembered even today after thousands of years. Albert Einstein adds, education is not simply the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. So education is the inner process of transformation, to learn not only what is right, but why it is right. An educated person is not the one who knows more, but the one who acts with wisdom in any situation. The difference between an ordinary person and a great person lies in his continuous education. Meaning, education never ends. It continues every time you read a book, forgive a person, or correct a mistake. Education is the longest and most beautiful journey of a human being, the one that turns you into the best version of yourself. Meanwhile, Dale Carnegie says, personal development begins the moment you take responsibility for your life. And I say, true education is when a person begins to learn from himself, not only from others. Because life is the most sincere teacher. It gives you the exam before it teaches you the lesson. A nation does not develop from its wealth, but from the level of education of its people, says Nelson Mandela. Let us therefore be the generation that builds with knowledge, not with ego, with example, not with words. I am one monologue. I wanted to remind you what education is. Until we meet again, do not stop learning, because every new day is an opportunity to become wiser, better, and more grateful to God.